what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of RHOX Garage. I'm your host, Dan, and on today's episode, we're going to be installing part number SEAT-751 on our Yamaha Drive. Now, before we get started, let's take a look at everything that comes in that kit and the tools we're going to need to perform the installation. When you first open up your kit, you're going to find your 2 vertical supports as well as your 2 seat back brackets. And then after your brackets, you're going to have your foot plate. And then after your foot plate, you're going to have your flip frame. And then finally, we're going to have our 2 handrails, our foot plate brackets, and lastly, our box of hardware. Now that we've taken a look at all the parts, let's take a look at all the tools we're going to need to perform the installation. First up, we have our impact gun. We have a socket wrench with a 12mm and an 11/16 socket. We have a number 4 hex key, as well as some extensions and adapters. After that, we have a 10mm, 13mm, and 14mm wrenches, as well as 2 11/16 wrenches. We have a Phillips head screwdriver, a panel remover tool, and of course, some safety glasses. And now before we get started, we just want to go over a few safety precautions. First, we're going to set our parking brake. Then we're going to turn our cart off. And if we have an electric cart, we're going to flip the tow run switch to the tow position. Once that's done, we can begin by removing the seat back cushion. So now before we remove our seat back cushion, we're going to go ahead and remove our rain gutters first, as that's going to allow us to access the bolts for the seat back cushion a little bit easier. So now to remove our seat back cushion, we're going to go ahead and take out the bolts that are on the inside rail of the sweater basket. Now typically there are 2 bolts on either side, however our cart only has 1 on either side. Now that our seat back cushion is removed, we're going to go ahead and remove the 4 bolts that hold on our top struts. Now something to keep in mind is we want to prop up the top so that it doesn't fall down on our head. Now that our top struts are disconnected, we can go ahead and remove our access panel. Once that's off, we can go ahead and remove the 4 bolts for the sweater basket. After you've removed your sweater basket, your next step is to install your new seat back brackets. Now the orientation of these, you want to make sure that the rear mounting portion is facing the rear of the cart, and also the mounting tabs for the top struts face the outside of the cart. So we're going to go ahead and reinstall our factory hardware, but we're just going to hand tighten those at this time. Now that our seat back brackets are loosely installed, we're going to go ahead and reattach our top struts. The next step in our installation process is to install our vertical support. Now typically on our cart there would be 2 factory bolts inside the bag well that would be removed, and then you would drill those holes out to 13-30 seconds. However, our cart has a lift kit on it, so those holes are already drilled, as you can see here. Once you have those holes in your cart though, you can go ahead and install your vertical support bracket with the supplied hardware. So like I mentioned before, this cart does have a lift kit on it, so we're just going to go ahead and reuse the lift kit hardware. Now if your cart doesn't have a lift kit on it, you can go ahead and use the supplied hardware. So now that our vertical supports are loosely installed, we're going to go ahead and attach our flip frame using the supplied hardware. Now that we've loosely installed our flip frame, our next step is to install our foot plate. Now that our foot plate's attached, we can go ahead and install our handrails as well as our foot plate brackets. Before we install our seat cushions, we're going to go ahead and go through the entire kit and tighten all the hardware down. Now that all of our hardware is tightened down, we're going to go ahead and reinstall our access panel as well as our rain gutters. Now that our access panel and our rain gutters are reinstalled, we can go ahead and begin installing our seat cushions. We're going to start first with the rear seat back cushion using the supplied hardware. And now with our rear seat back cushion installed, we're going to go ahead and reinstall our front seat back cushion. Now our last step is to install our rear seat bottom cushion, and we're going to use the supplied wood screws to install those. Now just a suggestion, I'm going to start from the corners of the seat cushion, as that's going to make lining things up a little bit easier. Now that our seat bottom cushion is installed, I just want to go over something real quick before we get wrapped up. If you're going to be installing our 88-inch extended top with this seat kit, you're going to want to use part number TOP-0108, and this is our extended top strut for the 700 series kit. Now when you install this, you're going to install it directly to the handrail. You're going to line it up, mark your holes, drill the holes, and put your bolts directly through the handrail, mounting it directly to this handrail. Alright guys, so that's going to do it for our install of SEAT-751 on our Yamaha Drive. Thanks for watching this episode of RHOX Garage. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.